Hi, I'm Bianca.
And I'm Latira, and welcome to Melanated Movie Moments.
Hey, y'all, welcome back. We are so excited today to talk about a movie and two trailers. We're going to talk about Thor, Love and Thunder, and we are going to talk about Bullet Train and Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. And yes, I had to say it that way.
Yeah. Oh, all right. Are we excited?
Kind of. We'll see when we talk about one of the movie.
All right. So y'all, fun fact. This is probably the first time Bianca and I have not shared our thoughts in some capacity before we're going to talk about it to y'all. So let's see where we are going to go. So what's your rating?
Oh, we started with the rating.
Start with the rating.
I don't even know how to rate this yet. I am still processing my thoughts for a movie that now I have seen a bit ago. I don't know how I feel about Thor: Love and Thunder. I literally was like, "Am I on something?" Because I don't know what just happened.
I'm not gonna say I'm still processing, but so for me, I know that Thor is supposed to be a comedian. Like his character, the creation of his character was always supposed to be comical, and in the other Thor movies, he was kind of like, meh.
Yeah.
And so they finally started to make him funny in like Endgame and all of that, right?
Yes. He always was funny in not his own movies until Ragnarok.
Right.
Funny in Avengers.
So I feel like for me, this movie was very like, we need to make Thor funny. And so they gave it like, what was that? I think the genre is called like camp.
Yeah,
like
they gave it a lot of camp.
So they made it very camp to give him the platform to be funny. And so for me, because I was aware of that when I saw the trailer, I was like, oh, that's what they're doing. I was not mad at the movie, but there were so many gaps, right? So for me, I would give the movie a C+. We'll give it a C+. And there was room for improvement. So if there are other Thor movies that are going to follow this platform, how they created this one, I feel like they can work towards an A.
Yeah. I guess I was torn because I was trying to decide if I wanted to put C, or if I wanted to bump it to a B-, because there are some things I really did like, and some performances I really liked.
Yeah.
And I felt like what happened is Ragnarok, the movie before, for anyone watching this that hasn't gone through them, Ragnarok was the first change into let's lean into all the things that makes Thor, Chris Hemsworth performance stand out in the Avengers. Like you said, we got to bring this comedy because Dark World was literally Dark World. And the first Thor was, okay. So, but Dark World, I really honestly didn't like. I've said it's one of the few ones I don't like.
I won't watch it again.
Yeah. But Ragnarok to me was really good. That was the first one the director Taika Waititi did, and I thought it did a great job of bringing in more camp, color, brightness, and it seemed like it was balanced. Like nothing seemed off in any scene. It didn't seem out of sorts. It was really good, and I felt like the folks were like, "This is great. Of course, we want you back because you did a great job with a Thor movie and still stayed the course, but brought all that in and almost gave him like just go for it in this one too." And I almost felt like it was on this one felt about to sound nerdy. The tone, like we're talking about, mixing in the camp and the seriousness and the everything. To me, it was balanced well in Ragnarok. To me, this one was like tonally, like the balance felt off. And it's hard for me to pinpoint more of this, less of this, but it felt off to me. Like there were just times where I was like, okay. But then like it's like you said, just some of the shifts, it just wasn't quite there for me. And I wanted to I was rooting for it. And it just felt like it was shaky for me the whole time, despite still being into the story, despite me being blown away by Christian Bale, which I expect. That's the type of actor he is. Didn't even recognize him almost when I watched the trailer.
Listen.
That was him.
Listen, I argued somebody down that it was not him. And then I was like, let me go look, because I feel like I'm wrong. And I went and looked and was like, God damn it. Yep. I am wrong.
Yep.
I am wrong.
I know that hurt you.
It did. And y'all know I'm never wrong, right? And it hurt me to be wrong this one time in life. And then it was like, oh, so you jumping from DC to Marvel now, friend? All right.
Yeah, they dropped and there's a lot of edits, and I don't know that the edits would make the movie. I'm not the person that always believes a director edit or an uncut edit is always better. Some movies it does. Some movies it's like, no, there's a reason it got cut. But for a movie that's about someone called like the guy Killer, Butcher, whatever, basically, that's his thing.
Yeah.
They really didn't show very much of it. And evidently there is more of it, but they cut it out because they said it went too dark. Like the level of some of the things that this character does. And I'm like, okay, just didn't see a lot.
I mean, if you call a movie of Love and Thunder and then you got a whole bunch of dark, that's probably not. I mean, I would have thought, wow, that's a good play on words because it's the opposite. But and you know how Marvel goes. We might see some of it in a future film because everything is connected, and flashbacks to it may come up in some other combination movie. But
Natalie was good.
Natalie was good
this time.
Yeah. I liked her character. I liked her character arc. I like how the movie ended based on how her character evolved. There were some very cheesy characters that I'm like, why are you here? I'm not going to say who. Yes, I am.
Go ahead. And by the way, spoiler alert, y'all, we try not to give them, but we have talked about this before. We cannot talk about this movie and give you nothing. Like,
right. So like that Zeus situation, like, why is this here?
That was Russell Crowe, by the way.
Oh yeah, I knew. I was like, oh, he put on weight for this movie.
Yeah, I thought it was him, and then in the movie,
I had to look it up.
In the movie, I almost flipped back to say no because I'm not used to him doing well with accents, to be honest. So when I heard him talking in the accent, it was almost too good, and I'm like, is this Russell Crowe? And then I was like, oh, it is.
I'm just used to him being more like Chris Hemsworth, Thor, not Chris Hemsworth. I drank too many beers, Thor. So it was a little like, oh, okay, Russell.
Yeah.
My favorite character in the whole movie, you about to laugh. You ready?
What?
The goats.
The goats were hilarious. And I had to go back and find a video that does connect them to the comic. And then it made it actually cuter that they're in there. They were funny. But then I realized they actually also were like canon. Like it actually is some of the comic. I said, that made it even better. That was actually
the goats were it. I love the goats.
Yeah, and there is a scene that I thought was so beautifully shot. It reminded me of Sin City a little bit, where they going into a world. I'm trying not to call what world it is towards the end, and it's very black and white.
Oh yeah,
saturation of that shot, because when little light hit, it wasn't a shadow. It was almost like a shadow of color. Like for a moment, you could see the like. I just thought, now that. Even while watching the movie the first time, it didn't take me out the scene, but literally in that moment, I'm like, this is gorgeous, this shot, like literally, like how this is being shot.
Yeah, I think that was a good scene.
Yeah. And
like you said, I feel like they wanted to make it so lighthearted that like I think they missed the mark.
Yeah, yeah.
Like scenes like that added depth to the movie.
It did.
And it was like, y'all could have taken some of the other stuff out and slid a little more of that in. And like you said, it would have balanced out the story. I think the problem is, while we understood the story, they didn't tell the story. So like you presented the scenes, but you didn't tell the story. And I feel like you said, had they added a few more of those dark moments or a few more of those like cinematic appealing shots where we're like, I'm drawn into this shot, then it might have told the story better.
Yeah. And they left out. There are some. If you go watch it, and for those that haven't, again, I don't know why you're watching this, but hey, press like while you're here. But come back after you watch the movie. In the first scene of Christian Bale's character, there's some marks and things he has on his body, and then later scenes, it's just scars, like they're just not there, but they never show you. And evidently, there's a whole scene that I'll probably tell you more offline because telling it here might spoil some stuff about his character.
Mm-hmm.
But it's one of those little things in the movie. I was like, oh, where did those come from? But there's a whole scene where it happened and they cut it out because, again, feeling like it might have been too dark. But I just felt like his whole look is completely different other than the saturation, and then they never explain it. And it just felt like there's no way you could have, because again, in Ragnarok, there was a lot of funny, there was a lot of humor, but there was sad, there was dark, and it ends on a very dark tone, honestly, if you know what happened going in the end game. But it felt very balanced in this movie. I think, like you said, they were so trying to, instead of balance, it felt like it leaned more into camp brightness, almost craziness, even though it was enjoyable craziness, I don't know. And it lost the balance of some of the weightier things. It did feel off with that. And I'm like, that's fine. But considering the villain chosen for this movie, I felt like you got to find a way to balance those elements. Because his character is a dark, the whole movie doesn't have to be dark, but his sister was dark in the other movie, and y'all balanced it out.
Yeah, like, I mean, and yes. So, and that's my other issue with this movie. They did not give enough background on the characters. No. Like, we know who Thor is, of course. We know who Valkyrie is. We know, I
didn't give her enough to do.
The rock creature name, I forgot his name. You know who he is.
Yeah, no, I know. He was funny, but yeah.
Yeah, but Krog, that was his name, right?
Yes.
Yes. So, we know these characters because they've been presented to us in other films. But we know Natalie's character, but y'all needed to refresh us a little more on her and then give more backstory on how she evolved, like what allowed for that particular evolution in this movie.
Yeah, they didn't.
What allowed her to be a Thor? Because that's in the trailer, so I'm not spoiling nothing.
Yeah.
But y'all should have explained more what allowed her to be a Thor.
Yeah.
They just
passively have one little statement that was said, and then they're like, that should explain it all.
And it doesn't. So that was a lot of my issue. Is it's like not enough explanation or connecting of the dots.
That's it.
And for me, because Disney and Marvel have been throwing out all these shows and things, I need to know how this stuff connects. And I'm not seeing goose eggs. Like, I am not seeing the goose eggs of this happened in the show and why it applies to this movie. So some of these movies, specifically Thor, are feeling like one-off experiences that have nothing to do with the phase 4 of the cinematic universe. And I'm trying to understand, are y'all playing with our emotions?
Yeah, I'm like, is phase 4 just a connector? Because it feels like it's like everything's setting up for 5 and 6, but I'm like, but what's the thing of 4? Like, I know it's supposed to be about like Kang the Conqueror, which you only know what I'm talking about if you watch Loki for that one. I'm just saying to anyone watching, you're like, I might have heard of him in the comics, but I'm like, if you watch Loki, that person's established, and evidently that person is finna be the next big, but I don't see the same kind of little, like, we got little spots of Thanos way back in Ultron and everything else in the cutscenes. It took a moment to get there, but you got little, this is gonna come back.
Yeah, it was good. It was sprinkled.
And when it's like Black Panther, which we'll actually talk about later, is actually the ending of this phase. So I'm just like, wait.
Yeah, I am very confused, Marvel. I'm very confused.
Every cutscene seems to just be introducing a new character, but not necessarily a character that gets me to Kang. There's a cutscene at this that involves Zeus, and it just brings out another character. There's cutscenes in the Eternals at the end in that thing that just leads to another character. Like, where? Okay.
Like, where does this stuff align? Because I'm not seeing the connection.
I do have a cute fact though, which was really cute. And there's some cameos in here that I thought were cute. One, I'll just say, and I'll only refer to the person at the beginning so that we don't give away anything at the end. In the earlier scene, Christian Bale has a daughter. Mm-hmm. That daughter is played by Chris Hemsworth's actual daughter in real life. That is his child.
That is cute. That's awesome. To be in a movie with your child.
Yeah, so that part was really, 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 I thought, cute. And then his brother is actually in a scene with Matt Damon when they're doing the plays in the movie.
Chris Hemsworth's brother?
One of his brothers, not the one we already know, not the one that was with Miley, but another brother was playing Chris Hemsworth. And then Matt Damon is playing Loki, and he played Loki in the past too.
Right.
But I know we it's so much we could go into. I know this movie is one of those I almost could do as a whole show, but we have other things to talk about. So I'm going to stick with a C. I'm not going to give it a C-. That might change tomorrow. If y'all ever see me, catch me in the comments. I might have an evolving score. The more I think about it, I actually want to watch it again, but I'm not going to go to the theater again. So I'm waiting for it to come up.
Yeah.
But I'll
When
give
it's
it
on
a
Disney
C.
Plus, I'm a rewatch. So
Yeah.
then I might change my mind.
And if you're an MCU fan, I do feel like it's a movie you need to see. There'll be something in there. I just feel like it could have been better. And there's so many pieces in the movie that almost makes you more frustrated. It's not better because there are some really good things in it.
Yeah.
That you just was like, but that's where I feel I was not super, like the movie ended and I was like, oh my God.
So if we were on our Siskel and Ebert, this movie would get 2 thumbs down. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. So on to our next. So as Bianca said, we are going to talk about 2 trailers, and those 2 trailers are Bullet Train.
Yes.
And Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. Now we're going to start with Bullet Train, only because y'all know we going to just go down the rabbit hole with Wakanda Forever. So we'll start with Bullet Train. So Bullet Train, I'm going to give y'all a quick synopsis of this movie. And so Bullet Train is basically a movie starring Brad Pitt, about assassin. And he is trying to transition out of being an assassin. He takes ultimately one last job and chaos ensues. That is my summary.
It's good.
It's probably not the most accurate, but it's close enough, you know.
It's close.
So Bullet Train will be in theaters tomorrow, August 5th.
I am really looking forward to this movie, honestly. The trailer, let's put it this way. We've been tricked by trailers, right, before. I would say, if you're watching this, and if you have not looked up the Bullet Train, the official trailer, not like the short clip, but like the full trailer, go watch it. It's a really good trailer. And to me, it shows I would say a decent part about the movie, but it still doesn't show everything. Like I still need to watch it to kind of see what all is happening. And evidently a lot happens. It has a stellar cast, which either can be great or bad, depending. But the trailer drew me in, and I'm looking forward to seeing a movie that's its own original movie, if it makes sense. Like it's not a sequel, it's not a redo, it's not part of the bigger universe. And I love MCU, but I'm just saying it's kind of refreshing to see this big blockbuster looking, just standalone new action movie. It looks exciting.
It's based on a novel, though.
It is. You know what? I heard it had some backstory. I just knew it didn't have. It wasn't a remake. Like there's not a movie version of it.
Yeah, I don't think there's a movie version of it, but it is based on a novel.
Oh, if I like the movie enough, I actually would. I'm that person. I would go back and compare the book because if I like the movie enough to make me want to get deeper in it, I could see doing that.
Yeah, it's based on a Japanese novel. So.
Oh, that is super cool. But some of the cast we have, just so you know, again, you got Brad Pitt. There's Sandra Bullock, which from the trailer, I have a feeling like she's a smaller role, but even though she's throughout it, you have Aaron Taylor Johnson, who was in Kick-Ass and was Quicksilver in the movies, not the TV. It's the whole thing about Quicksilver if you watch MCU.
All right.
Brian Tyree Henry from Atlanta and a lot of stuff. I don't want to always just say Atlanta for him because he's in so many things, including the Eternals. One of the things we both, I think, maybe liked about the Eternals might have been his character. I know there wasn't a lot. And just, I mean, there's a Zazie Beetz also from Atlanta. Like, there's a lot of people. And Channing Tatum, and as Latira told me, Ryan Reynolds also pop up, I think, in smaller roles. There's a lot of cast.
And Bad Bunny, I don't know his real name. I just know when I saw him, I was like, that's the Bad Bunny guy.
It is.
So he is also in this movie. I'm not sure if this is his acting debut or, I know his real name. His real name is Benito Antonio Martinez Ocasio.
Oh,
yeah.
Playing the wolf, right?
Playing the wolf. I'm not sure if this is his acting debut, but he is also in the movie.
I'm looking forward to it. So
I actually am too. I actually want to see it. Shockingly. I hope it doesn't disappoint.
Yeah, that's what I would say. If you have me judge the trailer alone, the trailer did its job. It is making me want to see the movie with me having no backstory or no connection. Of course, I want to see it because it's part of this. I just want to see it because the trailer looks really interesting. And we'll see if we have the same joy after the movie whenever.
And I mean, most Brad Pitt movies do not make me sad. Most Brad Pitt movies are a steady B in my life.
Yeah.
So I feel like we're gonna get at least a steady B movie.
Yeah.
He's had a few where I'm like, sir, what were you thinking? But overall, he's a steady B movies. I can give them a B and a score of grading. So yeah. I'm kind of ready to see this one.
So we will see. Look out for Bullet Train in the future, since we actually both want to see it. So
all right. Because have y'all noticed our reviews are typically based on movies we both want to see, or one person forces the other to see because they want to see it real bad.
I know. So speaking of movies we both want to see,
yes,
Black Panther Wakanda Forever.
Yes, we will be there.
We will be there. Look, I'm gonna be honest with whoever's watching. Even if the trailer had been not great, I was fully committed to see this movie regardless, and hopefully would love it. And I was just fully committed. Ryan Coogler's back. I have so much. He's a director I have so much faith and trust in when he's involved in a project, because his eye and his vision. He's just a masterful storyteller. It doesn't mean he's always going to be perfect, but knowing he was coming back, even with everything that's gone on, the gravity of how do you move forward, the gravity of, y'all, I'm just going to say this, there's no making the fans okay with this, because when everything first happened and we lost Chadwick, everybody said, don't recast it yet. There was like all these things, like it's too soon, we shouldn't even be having this conversation yet, da-da-da-da. So y'all, it takes a while to make these movies. They didn't make the movie last week, right? So then they stayed faithful to that. How are we going to give some love to that? How are we going to work on doing this moving forward? And now I'm starting to hear this other backlash of, this character's too important. At some point, you just got to recast. And I'm like, it doesn't mean they never will. Like, just give them, like, literally, when this got filmed, everything was so fresh. They had to figure out a way that worked with the story, how to move forward. And having not seen the movie, you still don't know what the movie's going to be.
No. And for me, I mean, and like, oh my gosh, Chadwick passing was like, oh my gosh, like it was devastating, because he was for the culture, right?
Yes.
But at the same time, I'm like you said, for this movie to be whole, characters need to be replaced. And I've even seen like statements from the family. Yes. They have not been confirmed, but the statements say that from the family that he would have wanted the character to be recasted. So I'm just like, I get us. I think no statement should have been made. Yeah. And then they really should have sat down and decided what the story should look like. Yeah. But I mean, it is what it is. And like you, I trust Ryan Coogler's vision. So regardless of how he rewrote the story, I feel like it is still going to be a good story. Yes. His art of storytelling is very poetic. And this is just not his Marvel movies. These are other movies that he's been a part of. His art of storytelling is very poetic. Yes. And his consistency in terms of how he partners with the actors who are in his films, it's very well seen. You can tell he gives good direction. Yes. And people respect his direction, so they follow it well. So I think the movie itself will be prolific. Yes. I mean, the culture, we're going to go out and see it regardless. We're going to go out. We're going to be dressed. We're going to do the thing. I've already heard people saying we wearing all white to this one. Since yes, we're dressing in all white. So we went all white. But we were all black for the culture last time, and we went all white for the peace and the love of Chadwick. Yes. And if you watch the trailer, I will say, again, there's so many assumptions to like the very last shot of the trailer. I know I'm skipping out of order, where you actually see someone in the Black Panther outfit, and there's been guesses of who that is. There's been a lot of talk about Siri. There's been a lot of talk about bringing up, but I'm like, they did it so at the end and where we don't know, then I'm like, y'all, Marvel and Ryan Coogler has the ability to do this in a smooth way. There's a possibility that it's exactly what we've been thinking, or it could be a complete redirect and it's not what we think. Like even the movie might take us one direction and then something happens where we're like, whoa, wait a minute. Like, so yeah, I'm just willing to go with the ride, but that
production of that trailer and the way the music was
Ooh.
central in all his films. Look at his Creed films too, but definitely Black Panther. And listen to it swell from like the No Woman No Cry into like going into We Gonna Be All Right to like literally I felt a physical reaction. I was like, oh my gosh, like
it was an emotional pull. It was definitely an emotional pull.
Angela Bassett looks like she's gonna be given more to do, and that's not a knock on the last Black Panther. There was so many things that she held her scene in every scene she had. That's not what I'm saying. It made sense to give her more last time, but hearing her give that speech, I was like, if this is all she does, I'm already like, just throw the flowers.
No. And what I love about Ryan is he's very consistent in who he works with.
Oh, yes.
And so when you were talking about the music, and I know I'm going to say his name wrong, I apologize. Ludwig Göransson, I think that's how it's pronounced. I might be wrong. It's his music composer, who's pretty much been the music composer for every movie he's ever done. And that man is a pure talent.
It was beautiful. Could it match the scene? It wasn't just to do it. It literally it added something to that trailer.
He's a pure talent. So him scoring a movie and working with the team to bring in songs for the soundtrack, it's like two people on a path writing the same story, but using different artistic tools. So it's like Ryan is writing the story, the visual story, giving us the words. And like Ludwig is like really saying, okay, I see this story and I can give you the soundtrack. So if we never hear the words and we hear the music, we still know the movie. And that's what I got from the trailer. It's like, y'all didn't give me a lot of words in this trailer, but that music let me know the direction we were going in. So I'm actually very excited to see this.
So with the trailer, because like literally we said we might talk a little over on this trailer because there is a lot of depth in it, and it's actually a very important, impactful movie for the culture. Also, is closing this phase, so I'm also hoping it helps stick some of the landing of phase 4, which I fully believe. I'm fully believe that he can as much as he can within this world, right? But there's also a very, very interesting part that almost doesn't get talked about that much, because everything has been about trying to figure out what's going on with the Black Panther character, right? Is some of the cast of some of the things that are going on in this trailer, like literally that are story related, not just what we're talking about. So Namor, who's like this underwater person, I don't know if he's the antagonist or not, but they show quick clips of him. A lot of people are assuming he's the antagonist going off it, but again, we know nothing until we just see the water looking like it's coming up, and that's from him. He also would be the introduction of, evidently in the comics, and I'm not as familiar with his character, I'm saying that straight up. There's some things in the comics I am, but he's considered a mutant. So he would actually be a main mutant, not like a flashing character for those that have seen Doctor Strange, but like a main kind of antagonist that actually is considered a mutant, or one of the earliest mutants or something in the comics in there. So it makes me wonder, like, okay, that could be something that's connecting going forward. And from the trailer, I'm like, I don't know if there's a conflict or if it's a misdirect and we're going to see them band together, Wakanda, in like this underwater, I don't call it Atlantis, but like civilization. But they're introducing a new character, and someone had wrote about the power of, he's also a person of color, being a brown person, being with some Mayan influence. Evidently had to learn a Mayan language, like that's like a real language, much like in Wakanda, they're speaking a real language. You know what I'm saying? Real
languages, because they have to identify the different tribes.
Yeah, he had to learn the language of the Mayan civilization to kind of bring in that indigenous kind of Mexican American culture and the Mayans and all that stuff, and they're bringing it into this movie. And how powerful is that too? Like with this history that already showed a lot of African culture in its full brightness and Afrofuturism and all this stuff with Wakanda, and now we're bringing in this other layer of like, hey, we're also going to give some homage to another culture that's represented in this character. That's the character we wanted anyway, but I'm going to make sure that I put the same detail and thought into this background, because it's a true background and it's something people aren't aware of either. And I'm just like, Ryan, y'all, I'm so
Yeah, we are going to have the introduction of a number of new characters in this film, and we're not going to say them. Y'all go watch the trailer.
It's a lot of them, y'all. Just watch. I named him because I could tell that's the main one, but just watch it. And Baku is back.
Yes, because I'm gonna shut up. But yes, this movie will be released November 11th, 2022. So just in time for, people are off of work for whatever holidays they choose to celebrate season. That's what I like to call it.
Yeah. You can celebrate my birthday being in November, baby. Go see Wakanda Forever for my birthday.
You could.
But yeah, so with that, we're super excited. That's another film we both want to see. So it's another one. Look out for it in the future when it comes up. I'm sure we'll might have a whole special episode on that one because I know it's going to be a lot.
Will be a whole we gonna probably that's gonna be one of our longer. Y'all just gonna get this ramble episodes. But make sure y'all check us out on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Melanated Movie Moments. Also find us on YouTube. Hit the like and subscribe buttons. We'll see you next time.
All right.